I want to introduce Bryony Shwan. Bryony Shwan is the founder and CEO of Kindkudos. And Kindkudos is an easy way to use, it's an easy to use messaging app for sharing, saving, and spreading kindness, happiness, and appreciation. What's not to love about that, right? So please give a round of applause for Bryony.
Good morning, everyone. So let me ask you a little question. How many of you have voice messages on your phone that you don't want to have deleted, that you keep refreshing? Yeah. And how many of you have a shoebox at home or a little file in your desk drawer where you keep messages of love and appreciation? Yeah, so those days when you're spring cleaning the house and you come and you discover them and then you sit on the floor crying because it just feels so good to go back and read these messages of love that you've gotten over the years. And how many of you have days where those days that just suck and you just want someone to say something really kind to you or to give you a big hug? Right? We all have them. So what Kindkudos is, it's the app, it's the feel-good app. It's the app that will turn your blue day into an awesome day. Kindkudos is an app that saves your messages of love and appreciation so you can enjoy them anywhere, anytime you need a little boost. And with Kindkudos, it's super easy to really make someone else's day by sending them a video, voice, or text message that just rocks their day. So how did I come up with this idea? Well, there were a couple of different things. I mean, first of all, I was one of those people who was constantly saving voice messages and didn't want to lose them. And I heard stories from other people who had voice messages from grandparents or partners that had passed away, and they were desperately trying to hold on to those messages. And I also have a sister who lives north of London and who's very socially isolated. And she relies on me for that emotional support. But because of the time difference, she will often call me in the middle of the day when it's my busiest time and I can't speak to her. And I kept thinking, I wish I could create a tool that would help her know that she's loved and appreciated, especially because she has a lot of those very blue days. And then I did a course on the science of happiness here in Missoula with Kevin Dorr. And I was really blown away by the data. Because we live in a culture that really encourages us to go out and consume as a way to make ourselves happy. But the scientific data shows that that's really not what makes us happy, that after we've all met our basic needs of, a roof over our head and food in our bellies, that the thing that most makes us feel good is to know that we belong to a group of people, whether it's your initial family or a group of friends or a larger community, that love and appreciate you, and that you belong. It's really primal. It's a biological need that we have. So I thought, what if I could create a tool that would help us all feel this way? And that's where the idea for Kindkudos came from. So I'm happy to take questions. Very short and sweet.
Yeah.
So the first question always is, what can 1 Million Cups do to help Kindkudos?
Lots of things. I really need people. I need people to get out there and spread the word about the app. It's very difficult to get. There are millions of apps in the App Store, so how do you get your voice out there? So spread the word about Kindkudos, download the app, send kudos to everybody that you know. Please go onto our Facebook page and invite your friends to like our page. Tweet about us. Help us find a few more investors. We could use some more investors. We're still trying to raise some money.
So can you explain the process a little? Like if, say, I'm thinking about this with my dad. He's not an internet user. He basically still has a flip phone. Like, how does the process work? Does somebody like that, can that be utilized?
Yeah, you have to have a smartphone. And right now we have the iPhone version out. Android is about 6 weeks out from being released. So no, you need to have a smartphone. And the app is really simple and straightforward to use. You open up the app, you press a button, it then goes into your address book, and you choose the person in your address book that you want to send the message to, And then it asks you, do you want to send a text, voice, or video message? You choose which of those 3 mediums. You create your message and you hit send, and it goes into their app, and they get to receive the message. And then you can also attach photos to your messages as well.
I see this as a kind of like a thank you card alternative on a bigger scale. Like if you did a project for a big company and you wanted to send thank yous to multiple people all at once, does the app do that?
Currently, the app is one person to one person, but that is a feature that we are building into the app right now, is to allow someone to send to a group of people. So you're absolutely right. It is like an electronic thank you card. And it also may be something that a coach could use to send out encouraging messages to their team. It could be used for people in 12-step programs. It could be used for anti-bullying groups. It could be used to support veterans who are struggling with PTSD. So all messages of support. In fact, I was speaking to the lieutenant governor here in Montana, and she was telling me, and Jen as well was telling me, that Graduation Matters, which is a program here in Montana, that one of the biggest reasons that graduates don't actually finish school is because they think nobody cares. So imagine if teachers and parents and support groups could actually send these kids Kindkudos every day, so that they are carrying around that love and support in their pocket. And every moment that they think, oh, nobody cares, they can take the app out and read that actually people do care. Read or listen that people do care. Yeah.
Whenever an entrepreneur says investors, the next question is, how do you monetize?
I have multiple strategies for monetization. The app currently it's free to download, and you can save up to 50 messages. And once you're up to 50 messages, you are encouraged to download the premium version of the app, which is unlimited storage for $4.99 a year. Later, we're going to add a feature that allows you to buy a song and send a song to a friend. And then we are also going to add a feature that allows you to directly send somebody flowers or chocolates, or perhaps some kind of service through the app.
You mentioned that the app is only available on smartphones, but can you send a message to someone who doesn't have the app?
Yes, you can. So if you send a message to someone who doesn't have the app, they will get a text message with a link in it that says, Jane Smith sent you a kind kudo, click here to get your kudo. So the person will get that kudo regardless of whether it's a text, voice, or video message. It would be different on a flip phone, because you probably couldn't access the internet on a flip phone, but you could do it on your computer. So yes, you can do it, and then it'll encourage them to download the app to save the message.
Can you schedule the kudos to go out?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because that is also one of our next features. Is we're going to design a scheduling feature so that, let's say you have a really busy week coming up, and you've got your mother's birthday on Wednesday and somebody else's anniversary on Thursday, and if you're like me, I do this every Sunday. I just think, because you get those Facebook reminders, and I just think, oh, I mustn't forget it, so-and-so. But then my week just gets away with me, and then every Saturday I'm like, darn, I forgot so-and-so's birthday. So yes, we're going to add a scheduling feature so that on a Sunday you can record all your kudos and say, I want this one to go at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning and this one to go at noon on Thursday. Yes.
Have you thought about approaching like Caring Bridge or even like AA, where you can provide that platform for people that are already going through the AA program, or people that have Caring Bridge, I think, would be a great platform that would go really well with Kindkudos.
Yeah.
Have you gone that approach?
No, I haven't yet. We've talked to several people within the AA program, and it's a little tricky because of the confidentiality issues in there. But I haven't talked to somebody officially from AA, so I'll definitely do that. And I think there are some similarities with Caring Bridge. I think Kindkudos is a lot easier to use than Caring Bridge, because the patient has to really have a laptop to be able to access it. But it's a good idea. I think I'll reach out to them and see if there's some kind of partnership we could do. Yeah.
How is this special, and how does it compare to like getting an email with an image in it, or a text message? Like, what's what's the user experience on the other end? If you could describe that.
Well, you know, if you think about it, if you get an email or a text message or a kind message within social media and you want to go back and find that 3 months later, you have to spend hours searching and scrolling and looking for those messages. These are in a clean interface, and you can search by person or by type of message. It's so much easier. You can find your message in a second. They're all right there in your inbox. Whereas, and especially with text messages, I know on my phone, after a while, those text messages are deleted. So they're not secure.
Do they appear a certain way? Do they come into the phone in a special way?
Yes, they do. In fact, our interface looks a little bit like Instagram's feed that you have. So you have the person's name, the message, and the photograph. It's a very clean and beautifully designed interface. So it's super easy to access your messages. You're not reaming through piles of social media and emails and stuff to try and find it. Because I can't tell you how much of my day I get so frustrated trying to find stuff in my email box or somewhere else in some other digital library.
Can you tell us about the app development process, what that looked like?
Yeah, we started development in the spring of last year. I have 2 primary developers that work with me, Tim Christensen and Tim Greiser. Tim Christensen is based here in Missoula, and he did the user interface, the client side of the work. And Tim Greiser is my server security guy, who's really, really pays attention to detail. And, you know, developing apps is a very iterative process. So we took our time to design the iPhone version of the phone, and we've made some changes based on user feedback. And now that we've got that user feedback, we are building the Android version, which will incorporate that user feedback. I don't know if that answers your question or whether you had more specific stuff on that.
Have you thought about creating virtual gifts, and also the possibility of purchasing virtual gifts like gift cards to Amazon and other places that you could be sent through your platform? I think that would be a great monetization strategy for you.
Yes, we absolutely will. It's a great question, because one of the things I don't want to do with the app, you know, I mentioned flowers and chocolates, because those are pretty standard gifts. And I want to make sure that I work with companies that are socially responsible, environmentally responsible. And so I have a couple of companies in mind for that. But I don't want to encourage consumption, because really the idea behind the gift is a gift of love and support. So I'm also looking for ideas of, you know, maybe connecting with something like Angie's List, where I can gift you a house cleaner for a day, or somebody to come and you know, shovel your snow. So I really want to think about ways that we can monetize without adding to consumption. But gift cards are a great idea as well.
So earlier you spoke of wanting to save old messages, and I might have missed it if you did say it. Is it possible to like upload past existing voicemails for, say, a non-smartphone? Can you save those voicemails and possibly even forward messages that are already existing? So, like, for example, if somebody did pass away, and just be like, you know, say, hey, this is his last words to me, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Is it possible to forward the existing
It
messages?
isn't yet, but we are building that feature. I think the text features will be pretty easy. Voicemails are going to be a challenge. We are trying to crack that nut, but the various phone companies, you know, Verizon and even Apple, have that pretty locked down. So we're trying to figure our way around that. We've got some ideas, but that is absolutely intention for you to be able to move it into other media. We're also eventually going to build a feature that allows you to share certain messages on social media, but what's really important about these messages is that they are private messages, because I think when people post things on Facebook or other public platforms, those are self-edited messages. I mean, we all know that, you don't want to post something on Facebook. I mean, my rule of thumb is don't put something on Facebook that you wouldn't be comfortable seeing on the front page of the paper, because that's essentially what it is. So, and I think that changes the way we talk to each other in social media. It doesn't allow for that authenticity of where you really want to say something deeply meaningful to someone. You are probably not going to say that on Facebook. At least most people won't say that on Facebook. So we will add a feature that allows you to share certain things with Facebook, but the sender will be able to block that feature. So if I send a deeply meaningful message to you and I don't want you to share it on social media, I'll be able to tag it or block it so that you can't do that. So we can protect people's privacy. But there will be times when it will be appropriate to do that. Yeah.
Who's next? Is there a way when I download the app that every user would send me a message immediately, tell me how wonderful?
Maybe we can find a way. We are actually going, it's funny that you asked that, because one of the other ideas we have is for you to be able to send out "I need a hug" message to some of your friends. So if you're having a very bad day, where you might be able to post a message to your friends to say, hey, I'm having a hard time and I could use some support.
Right. All right, who else?
You said you're looking for more funding, but you've also raised some money already.
Yes.
Which for many people is like kind of, gee, how did you do that? What have you learned from that process? I think would be helpful to share.
Yeah, I have raised about $250,000 so far, and I raised that mostly through friends, and also some other incubators here in Missoula that have helped support it.
And just sort of follow on from that, I mean, it's especially difficult trying to raise money for sort of an innovative kind of concept, and the app space, as you said, is very crowded. So what were some of the things that that helped you sell the idea to those investors?
I think the thing that sold the idea is that this is an app that is not something that is so unusual or has a very small audience. So every single investor that I spoke to, I think emotionally related to what the app does. So I'd never had the experience where I sat down and talked to an investor and they said, I just don't get it. I think all of them really got it at a very gut or heart level. And I think every single one of them had that experience of losing a voicemail or losing a message that was really meaningful to them, or knew what it was like when they were having a tough day and somebody sent them a kind message, and how it. So I think all of my investors could relate to it at a very deep level.
Cool. We have time for 2 more questions. Who needs a hug? Okay.
Oh.
Any other questions? If not, we'll wrap it up for the morning. Yeah? You just look like you're about to ask something. Oh, no. I'm picking on you.
She's heard the story many times.
Oh, great. Well, thank
right.
you very much, Bryony. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Here's your 1 million cup.
Thank you.
Thank you
Fill
so
it with
much.
kindness, right?
Fill it with kindness. Cups of kindness. Well, thank you very much for coming out this morning to 1 Million Cups Missoula. Go ahead and help us spread the word. I think in every chair, there was probably one of our 1 Million Cups card. What we do is every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we'd like you to come back. We'd like you to bring your inquisitive nature so you can ask a lot of questions, so you can learn, so you can help, and bring somebody along. We'll get more cups if we need them.